Well, hi, everybody. Today we want to talk about how healthy eating reflects healthy behavior. When we think about eating in this context, we want to think about the food we eat as medicine for our body. What we put in definitely affects what we get out of our daily life and the energy level that we live that life with. Behavior has to do with what we choose to do and how we plan our eating. So our behavior in this case comes more in line with planning than anything else. First, let's compare weight management strategies. We want to think about portion and serving size. Americans don't eat too many foods. Our variety isn't the problem. The problem is we eat too much because we misjudge the portions. We oftentimes feel like we have to eat all of the food put in front of us. When we're serving ourselves food and we control the portions that we're giving ourselves, we can usually control that amount more reasonably than if we go to a restaurant, say. Restaurants oftentimes will give you much larger portions or serving sizes than you're intended to eat. So in restaurants, we eat servings that can be 1.5 to 3 times bigger than what we should be eating or what is healthy for us. If you go to a restaurant and you see a plate called small, or you look at appetizers, those are often the correct size. A lot of times, though, we wouldn't order these in a restaurant because they may be listed under the kids' meal section or the senior citizens' meal section. There's a reason those senior citizens are eating smaller portions, and there's a reason that they are senior citizens walking around. We want to think about the correct size of each food group and understand that those food groups come in um, different portion sizes given the type of food that they are. So, for instance, if you're going to eat a pancake or a piece of bread, the portion or serving size of that for a meal would be the size of a CD. I know it's a little antiquated, but if you remember what CDs are, that's how big it should be. The serving size for a portion of peanut butter on a sandwich or on a piece of bread would be about the size of your thumb. So that's like one scoop of a knife through the peanut butter. The serving size of fruit comes to be about the size of a tennis ball. Fruit is usually pretty self-explanatory because they come in sizes like one serving size. But sometimes you get things like grapes where you can eat and eat and eat, and you need to manage the size of that portion. So here are some grapes. When you think about a bundle of grapes, think about a light bulb. That's how big it should be. Meat should be about the size of a deck of cards. So when we think about a portion of meat, we don't want to go with the giant slabs of burgers stacked between two little tiny bun pieces. So we want to think about meat in terms of the size of a deck of cards. A cup of cereal is about the size of your fist, and a correctly portioned plate looks something like this. It does not look like this. Restaurants will give you a lot of food because they want you to come back. They also, of course, put things that taste really good in that food, whether the food looks healthy for you or not. So sometimes in salads, they'll put really, really fat um, infused salad dressing or other things in it that cause you to really like the taste of it, but it's making that salad less healthy. So we want to think about that. Now, some good strategies that are easy for you to do. First, use smaller plates and bowls. Um, we know that when we fill a bowl, if it's a giant bowl, we're going to have way more food than we need. If it's a smaller bowl, we're going to eat it, and then we'll get the signals from our stomach to our brain in time to say, hey, we've had enough before you get up and go get another bowl of food. It also helps to serve food with spoons that measure in quarter or half cup servings. So we want to think about when we serve that food, how does it look? You know, are we putting the food in, thinking ahead, or are we just kind of dumping food in? We want to set an allowance for junk food or sodas ahead of time and set it ahead for the week. That way, if you have a bad day and you have too much soda in one day, you can say, okay, for the rest of the week, I've had my allowance. I'm not going to have any more. And that kind of builds confidence in yourself as well. The key to remember here, though, is people screw up, and you can't feel guilty about it because we know that feelings of guilt around eating cause people to eat more. It's really odd that way. So we don't want to feel guilty about it. We want to be in control. So giving yourself small steps to be in control of your eating is what we're going for at your age and beyond. So a lot of times people don't think about the drinks that they're drinking as that source of empty calories or calories that we don't use that we just store as fat. This little diagram here shows you the amount of sugar in each of these drinks. And this is startling to a lot of people, particularly when it comes to the fruit juices. We know sodas have tons of sugar. We know water does not have any. So water has no calories. It is an essential mineral for our body, so we need it, and we need plenty of it. Soda, we know, like Coke, Mountain Dew, even Sprite. Sprite's not listed here, but Sprite has just a little bit less than Coke. That's a lot of sugar to be putting in your body for one little cup. But the fruit juices and the Capri Suns and things like that surprise a lot of people. You say, how do they get that much sugar in that drink? Well, the way that they do it is they heat the drink up. They put the sugar in, and it super saturates the liquid. So it goes into that liquid, and it holds all that sugar in there. And then it's cooled, and it stays in the liquid suspension, so it doesn't fall out. So you want to think about this as you plan your calories or plan what you're eating as well. Think about the drink you're drinking. Water is always a healthy choice. Low-fat milk is always a healthy choice. Milk also has sugar in it. That shouldn't be ignored. But it has so many more nutrients for our body in it that it's worth it. So milk and water are two really good choices for drinks. These others, it's not that they're terrible things. They taste really good. You just want to budget it. You want to be in control of how much you're going to drink and set that goal ahead of time and stick to it. All right, fiber. Fiber is the broom of our digestive system. We want to think about fiber in terms of having enough and understanding the labels on foods here. Fiber doesn't particularly have a texture that everybody really likes. So food companies have taken a lot of fiber out of many of the foods that we eat that you would think have fiber in it. So when you're purchasing a grain food, the terms to look for are fortified, particularly when we talk about cereals, and whole grain when we talk about anything else that's a fiber, whether it's pasta, rice, bread, all that stuff. So now that there's been a push for more fiber, some bread has added fiber to it. Fortified means that nutrients that are not found in that product by themselves have been added to it. And enriched means that naturally occurring nutrients have been added back into a product that's been refined. So the refining process is where they take out the grain and they kind of just cut it off. And then they process the food without the grain, without the fiber. And so we need that fiber desperately. And the reason we need it is our friend. We can get fiber out of fruits, vegetables, beans, peas, nuts, seeds, bread, cereals, all that stuff. And we need it because fiber lowers our cholesterol. It reduces spikes in insulin when our blood sugar goes up and down. Our body releases insulin, and that response can cause some variation in our body that over time we want to regulate so it doesn't cause more problems down the road. And fiber also helps us retain water, which helps poop. So it helps us get rid of poop easier. You don't want that poop sticking around in your system. So fiber helps us get it out. All right, it also helps reduce heart disease and colon cancer. You can imagine if we have healthy digestive systems and a healthy bowel, we have less opportunity for heart disease and colon cancer because we get rid of the things in our body that should not be there anymore. So thanks a lot for listening. Think about planning out your food. You're getting older and you can start to really manage what you put into your body so you can get the most out of it. Have a great one.